A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant escalation of political tensions between Mexico and the United States, President Claudia Sheinbaum announced on Friday that her government has filed a lawsuit against Google. The lawsuit comes in response to Google Maps' decision to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America for users in the United States. Sheinbaum made the announcement during her morning news conference, although she did not disclose the specifics of where or when the lawsuit was filed. This legal action follows a recent vote in the Republican-led House of Representatives, which approved legislation to formalize the name change as part of a broader effort to codify former President Donald Trump's policies. The measure was introduced by right-wing lawmaker Marjorie Taylor Greene and passed almost entirely along party lines, with all Democrats opposing it and only a handful of Republicans dissenting. The legislation aims to make the name change official for federal agencies, but its passage in the Senate remains uncertain, especially without Democratic support. Even if the bill were to pass, it is important to note that other countries, including Mexico, are under no obligation to adopt the new name. President Sheinbaum has been vocal about her discontent with Google's decision, having warned the tech giant back in February that legal action would be considered if they did not reverse the name change. The Mexican government argues that Trump's executive order only applies to the U.S. portion of the continental shelf and does not grant authority to rename the entire Gulf of Mexico. All we want is for the decree issued by the U.S. government to be complied with, Sheinbaum stated, emphasizing the need for clarity on the issue. In a cheeky retort to the situation, Sheinbaum suggested that the United States could be referred to as America Mexicana or Mexican America, referencing historical maps that show the region prior to 1848, when a significant portion of Mexican territory was annexed by the U.S. The ongoing dispute is not just limited to the name change. It reflects broader tensions between the two nations, particularly in light of trade relations. Mexico and the U.S. are currently engaged in discussions aimed at easing the strains caused by Trump's trade policies, which have included tariffs targeting Mexico. In response to the controversy, Google has stated that the name change was part of a long-standing practice of updating names based on official government sources. They clarified that the Gulf would still be referred to as the Gulf of Mexico for users in Mexico, while users in other parts of the world would see the label Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. This change has sparked a backlash, particularly from news organizations like the Associated Press, which have refused to adopt the new terminology, resulting in a conflict with the White House that led to restricted access to certain events for the outlet. The situation has escalated to the point where President Trump hinted at further changes in how the U.S. refers to other bodies of water, including the possibility of renaming the Persian Gulf during an upcoming visit to Saudi Arabia. This potential move has drawn sharp criticism from Iranian officials, who have labeled it as an absurd rumor and a disinformation campaign. As the lawsuit moves forward and tensions continue to rise, the implications for U.S.-Mexico relations remain uncertain. The outcome of this legal battle could set a precedent for how territorial names are recognized and respected in the age of digital mapping and global politics. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.